Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm so excited to be sharing with you today's video because this is a subject that I am extremely passionate about. In today's video, we are going to be watching one of my recent PPC presentations in a PPC summit that I was a speaker in. The tutorial is about how to launch using Amazon PPC with keywords that are backed with buying intent. Buying intent keywords is very important and something that a lot of people do not take into consideration. So I'm excited to be sharing with you this video today. I want to let you know that this video is pretty long. It's about an hour long. So I'm going to be including in the description down below a timestamp with different subjects that I'm specifically speaking about, where you can jump to that specific topic. For example, how to launch variations or how to launch with brand registry or whatever it may be. You're going to have that option at the bottom. But I do encourage you to watch the video from start to end, because there are a lot of hidden nuggets in between as well. So if you are new here, my name is Sharon Evan and I am an Amazon seller, but I'm also an Amazon FBA coach. I've been selling on Amazon for almost 5 years now, but for the last 2 years, I've also been doing coaching on a one-on-one level. Why is this important for you to know? Because I do not live in the bubble of my own products. Many people that create PPC content or content in general about PPC are either 7- or 8-figure sellers that only know their own products, or PPC agencies that are working with huge brands that isn't really very relatable for the types of products the newbies that would be starting out with, or the types of launches that make sense for people who aren't 8- and 9-figure sellers. So through my coaching, I've been exposed to hundreds and hundreds of products and hundreds of search term reports. And I'm not exaggerating. You're welcome to visit my coaching website and see the hundreds of reviews I have there. And you'll see that I have coached a lot of people. So through my coaching, I have also realized that there is no such thing as one PPC campaign or structure that fits every single product. But the one thing that I have found that does fit every single product is what I'm going to be teaching you in this specific video, which is keywords that are backed with buying intent and how to use them in what types of campaigns. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you are new here and you don't know me, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and to also hit that notification bell so that you know when I bring out more videos. I do have in the intro of the presentation some information about me, so I'll leave that for the actual presentation. I do want to say, if you don't know, I do one-on-one coaching with Amazon sellers, like I mentioned earlier. So if you are in need of one-on-one coaching, which means that it's you and I on a Zoom call that is also recorded for your reference later, I'm going to leave a link to my coaching website down below. Now, I want to remind you that the foundation of having a successful PPC campaign or a successful PPC in general, or a successful launch, really does depend on your product. You can't launch a shitty product and expect to have extremely good PPC or to even see the types of results that you would see if you were launching the right product. Therefore, I created an A to Z product research and development course where I teach you how to find products that will last on Amazon and beyond Amazon with brand building in mind, and also how to develop those products and source those products. I'm going to be including a link to my course down below. And we're about to get into the video. I encourage you to get a piece of paper and a pen ready, some water because you need to concentrate in this video. And I also encourage you to take screenshots of different slides that make sense for whatever it is that you are most interested in, so that you can refer back to that later. If you're not part of my Amazon FBA Facebook group, I have a community called the Amazon FBA Alphas. It was also voted the 4th best Facebook community for Amazon sellers in the recent seller poll. So I encourage you to join the community as well. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and also comment so that I know what types of questions you have or what type of content you'd like me to continue making. I also have a playlist specifically for PPC in this channel that I have uploaded many different PPC videos, so I encourage you to check that out. Now we're almost there, guys. We're just about to get into it, but just before we do, I want to also remind you that understanding your buyer avatar is crucial in order to understand what types of keywords you should be going after at what stages on Amazon. So I did upload about a year ago an in-depth video on how to understand who your buyer avatar is. And I do encourage you to watch that video either before this one or after this one, because it's going to help you to understand your product and who you're actually selling it to, so that you can then understand what types of keywords to also target. All right, and without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, welcome to my presentation. So we're going to be speaking about focused PPC and launching with buying intent in mind. So throughout the presentation, I hope that you will understand what I mean by saying launching with buying intent in mind. So let's begin. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, who am I? So my name is 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗏. I am a 7-figure Amazon FBA seller, and I'm also a brand builder. I am the founder of the 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗏 YouTube channel. I'm the founder of Amazon Alpha Coaching. I'm also the founder of the Amazon FBA Alphas Facebook community, and I am a co-host on the Seller Sessions podcast by Danny McMillan. And you may have seen me on YouTube or seen my PPC content on YouTube. I have multiple videos there, so I encourage you to subscribe if you haven't yet. I've also spoken at multiple events with, basically the big dogs in the industry, multiple podcasts. And all of this brings the question, am I a PPC expert? So I wanted to start with this because I think it's important to understand what I'm bringing to you as a seller and why basically you should be listening to me. Because most of the PPC, experts or people that are in these types of PPC summits, most of them are an agency or are part of an agency. And I do not have a PPC agency. So I don't have or come with advertising background prior to selling on Amazon. And I do not offer a PPC management or PPC agency at all. I basically am a seller just like you. So I'm a seller just like you and have been selling on Amazon since 2016. And although I am a 7-figure seller spread over my accounts, I'm also an Amazon FBA coach. And over the past 2 years, I've coached on a one-on-one level over 700 people. So I know that sounds like a lot of people. And how did I do so much coaching in 2 years? And it's because for some people, it could have been a 1 hour or 2 hour call here. And with some people, it could have been A to Z. So it could have been for helping somebody to find the product, to develop the product, and eventually launch the product. Or it could have just been, a PPC call where we're just digging deep into their PPC. I would say that about 70% of my calls are PPC calls. And therefore, I've seen a lot of sponsored ads and, hundreds and if not thousands, without exaggerating, of search term reports. So although I'm not an agency, I do know a thing or two about PPC, but the most important thing is I don't live in the bubble of my own products. So when I first started coaching or when I first started YouTube, I lived in my bubble, because if you don't have an agency or if you don't coach, what you know are your products. And I sell specifically in beauty and in the baby niche. And, if somebody suddenly came to me selling a decor product or, a bridal product or a, soccer product or whatever it may be, the strategy isn't going to be necessarily the same as the niches that I specifically knew. So throughout my coaching, I've learned even more about PPC, and I've done a lot more trial and errors. And I've just really come to the understanding that there is no one way of doing PPC for all products, but there are some things that I have noticed that make sense for all the products that I've always launched or help people launch. So that's what we're going to talk about. So the question was, am I an expert? You can decide what I am, if I am or not, from watching this presentation. But what I really want to say is I've seen so many products. Not every single product can have the same strategy. Some products will need a different strategy, depending on how niche it is, depending on the differentiation of the product, depending on the type of buyer avatar you're going after. But there is one strategy that has always worked for me no matter what, and that is focused PPC with keywords supported by buying intent for the product that's being advertised. So that is what we're going to focus on, and this comes with a lot of experience behind me, and again, not living only in the bubble of my products. So why do we even advertise on Amazon? And whether you're a beginner or whether you've been selling on Amazon for a long time, sometimes it's really good to be reminded of why specifically we advertise on Amazon. Why Amazon PPC when we can, advertise on Facebook or on Instagram or TikTok or use influencers or Facebook marketing or Google or whatever it may be. But why would we specifically actually use PPC? So unlike any other advertising platform, Amazon is a shopping platform. The browsers or the people that are shopping, they are with buying intent. They're not just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. They're coming onto Amazon using a keyword or a search term in order to find a product that they want to buy. So I call these hot buyers, as they're already looking for the product just like ours, and they used a search term or a keyword to find a product like ours or a similar product to it. And now we just need to make sure that we're in their face. So we need to make sure that our product is in front of the buyer's eyes. So PPC allows us to be in front of our ideal buyers at the right time from day one. So what I mean by that is, it's pay to play, right? We're not going to go as basic into as how do we rank products, or we're going to talk about ranking, but how ranking works or whatever it may mean. We're going to focus on what do I mean by when I say that we're going to be in front of the right buyers from day one. And what I mean by that is when you're using PPC, you have the ability to strategically choose what keywords, obviously it's going to cost you, but what keywords you want to target in order to be able to be at the very top from the very beginning. You don't need to wait 2 months for a specific ranking, or you don't need to wait until you get more reviews. Now, I don't really talk about reviews specifically in this presentation, but I will say that in my experience, outside of only my bubble of products, but through also coaching many different people, most products, not all, but most products can be launched from day one with 0 reviews. There are many niches where it's not about the reviews as much as it is about the design or about the differentiation. Now, there are some products like supplements or anything that goes inside of your body, or or certain electronical products or things like that, where reviews really do matter from the beginning. You need to work on getting reviews, but also in order for you to get reviews, you need to get sales. So I am not a believer in waiting until you have social proof in order to start PPC. I believe in having an amazing, highly differentiated product where you've done a really good job with your listing and understanding who your buyer avatar is to make sure that you're making the best product for them. And using PPC from day one, and it's been proven, over and over again that you can get sales without reviews. So again, it does depend on your niche. There are some niches where you really may need reviews, but in my experience, you don't. So something I want you to take note of is you could have the best PPC structure in the world, but if your product and listing is not top notch from the beginning, you're not going to convert. So not even the best advanced PPC expert can help a bad product for the long term. So I want you to remember this before we even move forward, because if you're trying to launch a product that has the best strategy behind it, but your listing sucks, your pricing is all wrong for the type of buyer avatar, you have terrible images, you're not even indexing correctly, no PPC strategy is going to help you. You got to fix that foundation first. So from here moving forward in the presentation, I am assuming that you have a well-differentiated product. You've got an amazing listing with great images that make sense for your buyer avatar, and you've done a really good job with your copy, with the copywriting, so the bullet points, the title, the keywords, the search terms, etc. And only once you've got that, and that's the foundation of it, only then you can really actually move forward with your PPC, in my experience. So I want us to talk a little bit about the difference between shelves in physical stores so that we can understand what digital shelving looks like and what the difference is here. When we walk into a store, we have what we call shelves, right? Products are usually on shelves. But if you think about it, when you're looking at a specific shelf, you usually pay attention to what's at the top shelf, right? Or when you're walking into a clothing store, you usually pay attention for what's right in front of your face and not necessarily what's at the very end on the back wall at the very end. You're usually looking at what's at the very front or what's at eye level. Because products that are at eye level are usually the first products seen. So therefore, the stores are usually putting the best sellers there. These are the products that will get the most visibility. And these are usually the ones also that the store wants to get rid of. So if I'm a store owner, a brick and mortar store, and I'm trying to get rid of, a bunch of shampoo, okay, I'm not going to leave it at the very bottom of the shelf. I'm going to put it one of the top shelves with the big discount on it so people see it so I can get rid of it. Also, if there is a new line of shampoos that I'm bringing into my brick and mortar store, don't know why I chose shampoos, but that's what we're going to go with, and I want people to see it, I'm going to put it at over here at eye level on the top of the shelf, or at eye level in general. I'm not going to put it down here at the very bottom, which has hardly any visibility. It's hard for them to find, and it's not as easily accessible. You need to bow down to get them, or whatever, move products in order to get it. So that's number one. Now, number two, if you think about it, when let's just say you're in a supermarket, right? There's two types of ways that you could be browsing through shopping. One is you're just going to go down every aisle because you're that type of shopper, right? So you're seeing the products as you go down every aisle. You don't necessarily have buying intent for a specific product that you're passing. And then there's other shoppers where they know exactly what they want. They know that they currently want, a specific shampoo. They're going to find the shampoo aisle. They're going to go straight to the shampoo aisle. They're going to find the shampoo that they want, and they're going to take it. And they have what we call buying intent. They know exactly what they want, compared to the millions of shoppers that are just walking through different aisles and don't necessarily yet know what they want. But on Amazon, we have what we call digital shelving. And that is how I approach anything to do with Amazon and to do with keywords, because every time we search for a product where we're using a search term, every little box there to me is room, space on a shelf. And that's how I approach this. Now, when you go to Amazon.com and you type in a search, or .ca, whatever, I don't know why I said .com, but when you go to Amazon and you type in a search term, right? So in this case, it was garlic press. Usually it's usually between 2 to 4 listings that you'll see at the top are going to be sponsored ads. So you can see here, if I draw sponsored, 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 and sponsored. Usually they're going to be sponsored ads. And this is basically obviously being used by PPC. So people are using PPC in order to be at the very top. And then you can see that this guy over here is both organically ranked, and he's also over here PPC sponsored ad number 1. So some of you may be thinking, well, if he's already organically ranked, then why is he also over here? Even if I'm organically ranked number 1, I still want to be number 1 here, because it usually means that I'm also going to be number 1 on mobile, and it also means that I don't have a competitor there. So it's one less competitor there. Now, it's a little bit more advanced, and I'm trying to keep this sort of for newbies and advanced sellers. So we're going to stick to launch right now. But take into consideration that when you're selling on Amazon, it's all about digital shelving, right? The same way that products are not really going to be seen down here necessarily, people don't really get to the very bottom of page 1. Most of the sales are going to happen towards the top of page 1. Not all, but a large amount of sales will happen, and that is where you need to be. But you want to be in front of the right buyers at the right time. Now, I don't know if any of you noticed, right? But there's garlic supplements are showing up as headline ad on a garlic press keyword. Now, this is in Photoshop. This was legitimately a screenshot that I took, and you can see you can't see, but I typed in garlic press, and what came up at the headline ad was, believe it or not, garlic supplements. Now, if I'm looking for a garlic press, I want a garlic press. The likelihood of somebody buying a garlic supplement is close to 0 when we're looking at garlic press. So we'll get very shortly into how I choose the keywords I go after, but I personally would not have gone after a keyword like this. And this is why I was saying you need to make sure, if we go back to the slide before, that you're in front of the right buyers at the right time. And the same way you want to be at the top of the correct aisle for the buyer who wants to buy that specific product. You want to be at the top for the correct product, for that correct keyword, making sure that the right buyer is seeing you. So before you even think about starting PPC, the way that I do PPC is a little bit different. So here, this is step 1. Well, step 1 was making sure you have an amazing product. Step 2 was making sure you have an amazing listing, that you're targeting the right type of avatar with your images, that you're targeting the right type of keywords with your copywriting, that you've put in the right search terms at the back, that your listing is fully optimized, okay? Once you've done that, then step 1 is this. So in order to start marketing your product on Amazon strategically, you first of all need to know who your buyer avatar is and what features your product has that they care about. You should know your product and your avatar better than anyone else. Once you know who your buyer avatar is, you can then identify keywords and ASINs specifically for the avatar and make sure that your listing is optimized for that specific avatar. And once you know what features your products have, then you really understand your product, and it's going to be easier for you to select keywords that you should go after at launch. So the amount of time I've had a coaching call with someone and they've come to me with a product and I'm like, okay, so what's differentiated about your product? What does your product actually do? Who buys your product? And people actually need to sit and think they don't have the answer for it is ridiculous. You need to know what you're selling. You need to know what your features are, because you may also have hidden features within your product, and there's people searching for those types of features using specific keywords that you don't even know about, right? So you need to make sure that you understand the product you're selling and you understand who it is that you're selling them to. Once we fully understand the buyer avatar and our product's features and what are the main differentiations, we can then select keywords to target with purpose and with strategy in mind. So every keyword I target has a purpose. Every campaign I have has a purpose. I would love for you to first of all understand the logic behind the setup I'm going to show you soon. So in the next slide, I'm going to show you what my PPC launch actually looks like. But before I do, I really want you to understand why I do what I do and why I choose the types of keywords that I choose. So over the years of selling myself, with my own money, it's different when you have never actually sold on your own and you work for an agency. But when you're actually selling yourself, you know what it's like to bleed money on PPC. You've made a lot of mistakes on PPC, and eventually found the right type of strategy for your products. And then on top of that, the hundreds and hundreds of people that I've coached, this is what I've come up with, and it can change the way that I approach it, but this is my 3-tier strategy. So tier 1 is, and this is all about keywords here. Tier 1 are the types of keywords where I'm going to go after from the very beginning at launch. So these keywords should be exactly describing what my product is. Keywords that describe exactly what my product is, and if it's also ASINs, then it's ASINs or product pages of products that are exactly the type of product that I sell, okay? I will also sometimes at launch target ASINs that complement my product, but it really does depend on the product. Sometimes it can be costly and dangerous to do that, and sometimes it makes sense. It depends on the product. But the first types of keywords I'm going to go after are definitely, and these are definitely the ones that I want to rank on, are definitely going to be the ones that explain exactly what my product is. So if I am selling a water bottle that is pink and it has a sloth on it with a motivational quote, I am going to go after the keyword, for example, as long as someone's actually searching for it. I'm going to go after a keyword that is related to pink woman's motivational water bottle, right? So maybe it doesn't have sloth, but it's got pink, it's got women's because I'm targeting women. It's a motivational because it's got a motivational quote on it, and I've got women. So it describes exactly what my product is. Therefore, the buying intent behind someone typing in that keyword is almost 100%. That's what they want. They want a product just like mine. Now, mine happens to have a sloth on it. Whether they want it or not, we would find out. But the point is, I'm not necessarily going to go after the keyword women's fitness water bottle from day one, or women's water bottle. I rather go after specifically those keywords that add those keywords to the keywords I'm trying to go after, for example, that have also motivational in it, and also sloth in it, and also cute, or whatever it may be. So the types of keywords that I'm going to go after in tier 1 are keywords that I believe that I can rank on from day one, or ASINs that I believe that I can compete against from day one. Now, the amount of time I've seen people go after ASINs that they can never compete against in the beginning is literally ridiculous. I like to explain it imagine as if you're going into a battle, right? If you are one person trying to take on an army of 100, you're most likely going to get killed, okay? But if you are one person trying to take on 4 people or 5 people, you still stand a chance. Same thing when it comes to choosing what types of products you're going to go against with Amazon. You're going to take on the types of keywords and the types of ASINs that you believe that you can actually compete against. So if there is the number one seller that has over 50% market share, that's exaggerating, let's just say over 20% market share, and they have thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews, maybe you shouldn't go after that ASIN in the very beginning, but rather go after other ASINs at the very beginning there that you have more likelihood to actually compete against them. So tier 1 are the most important keywords to me from the very beginning. They're the types of keywords that explain exactly what my product is, and that is the products those are the keywords I will usually start with at launch. Tier 2 are slightly less restricted keywords and ASINs that I can compete against. So once I have ranked and gotten sales velocity from tier 1 keywords, I will then start working on the keywords that are slightly less restricted to just describing my product. So if we used earlier the product that was a water bottle that had a sloth on it and a motivational quote, and I would have gone after women's pink motivational water bottle, then maybe here, now that I've already got that sales momentum from the other keywords, I can start in a few reviews, etc. I can start going after keywords, for example, women's pink water bottle, or women's fitness water bottle, or something along those lines. Now, sometimes, and also it could really be 50-50, I will go after both tier 1 and tier 2s when I'm launching a product. And it really does depend on the product. With some products, you should only start with tier 1 from day one. And with some products, you can start with tier 1 and tier 2 from the very beginning, because you've differentiated that well, because your niche makes sense for it. It depends. It's difficult for me to explain how I choose that, but I basically will leave you with the fact of, can your product compete and stay ranked against a keyword? So if you are trying to go after a keyword and you can, at this time, not rank on it, it's less important than keywords that you can stay ranked on, in my opinion and experience. Tier 3 are the main keywords or complementary keywords to my product. So these are the main, most broadest or loosest keywords. So for example, in here, it could be, you know, women's water bottle, or it could just be water bottle. Keywords describing what my buyer avatar is looking for, or very similar products to mine, but they're a lot looser. Okay, so if I'm selling, let's just say a kit for a bridesmaid. Okay, so let's just say if I'm selling a bridesmaid proposal gift, a bridesmaid proposal box. So it's a box that says, will you be my bridesmaid, or will you be my maid of honor? And then they put all sorts of gifts inside of it. Then a main tier 3 keyword would be, you know, bridesmaid gifts or something like that, because I'm no longer going after specifically bridesmaid proposal box. I'm now just going after bridesmaid gifts, which is a lot broader, right? Or if I'm selling a specific type of cup, okay, let's just say, and it has something very specific on it, and I go after the keyword Mother's Day gift. It's a lot more broader than exactly what I'm selling, rather than, you know, actually using the keywords to do with a lion on a mug or whatever it may be. I hope that I explained that well and you understood what I meant here. So that is that. So next up is understanding the purpose of each campaign. So, and the reason I'm explaining to this is because the next slide is this. So before I explain to you what my launch strategy looks like, you need to know that for me, every single campaign has a purpose. And if you don't know the purpose behind your campaign, you can't go in and optimize. How can you optimize a campaign when you don't even know why you have it there in the first place? You can't. So I understand what is the purpose behind every single campaign that I have, right? So the first type of campaign that I have is a discovery campaign. A discovery campaign's purpose is to discover search terms, right? Search terms that you may be able to either rank on or to target. And once you've discovered those keywords, I specifically move them into more restricted campaigns for further trial and error, or for more efficient bidding. Remember that the only place where you can 100% control a bid is in an exact campaign. You can't in a phrase, you can't in a broad, and you can't in an auto. So once I've discovered a keyword, I will eventually want to target it in an exact campaign for bidding efficiency. And there's many different reasons for why I would move a keyword there, but that's the purpose of a discovery campaign. The second type of campaign that I'll have is a sales-driven campaign, and these are campaigns where really I'm more focusing on velocity from these specific keywords rather than ranking or rather than discovery. If I put if I put a keyword in a sales campaign, I know that that keyword, I either believe that I can consistently get sales from it, or I have consistently gotten sales from it, so I've moved it into a sales campaign. I then have what I would call a ranking campaign, and the main purpose of a rank campaign, believe it or not, is to rank on a keyword and to eventually stay ranked on that keyword even after even without PPC. So for me, when it comes to launching, I'm using PPC to try and help me to move my organic ranking up into the keywords where people are actually buying products from those specific keywords, my products from those specific keywords, so that I can eventually start moving into other phases of PPC, which is scale and, etc. At stage 1 for me, when it comes to launching, I'm going after keywords that I want to rank on. I want to stay ranked. The more I rank, the higher I rank, the more organic sales I'm going to get. I don't want to rely on PPC forever. I want to be able to get as much organic ranking, or as much organic sales, I should say, that I can. And I'm using initially PPC to help me move there because I'm strategically choosing those keywords. So these are usually my campaigns at launch, together with an under the radar campaign, where these are usually very low bid campaigns that I sort of just set, and sometimes we'll have a look at them, and sometimes I'll just leave it there. when I say low bid campaigns, I'm talking about like 5, 6, 7 cents per keyword. PPC is not a set and forget, but this is the only type of campaign that I sort of make as a set and forget. Very, very, very small bids. And then there's two other campaigns that I will look at, which will be a real estate campaign and a brand awareness campaign. Now, this is usually for me not at launch with a newer product or a newer brand, but I wanted to explain it to you anyway. So for me, a real estate campaign is basically exactly what it is. I want as much digital shelving on as many keywords as possible because I just want to brainwash my buyers into my product. And if I am showing up on these keywords or on these ASINs, it means another product is not. So what I really care about is the real estate on those keywords. Now, sometimes there can be different reasons for why I would be running a real estate campaign. It could be that a new seller has come in with 5 different variations, but they haven't put them as a family ASIN, like they don't have a child parent ASIN going on. They've made each ASIN, each product its own ASIN. Therefore, each product has its own ranking, and they've got 4 or 5 different ones suddenly on page 1, and I don't want them there. I want to be there. So I will target as many of my products that make sense for that specific keyword, because I specifically launch multiple products within my niche so that I have as much real estate as possible. Or also I will want to show up everywhere. So I'll want to show up in the headline ad, at the very first sponsored ad row, like at the first placement of sponsored ads. I'll want to show up in the middle of the page. I'll also want to show up as a display ad. I'll also want to show up as a brand ad at the bottom. I'll want to be everywhere, okay? Usually I'm at real estate after launch, okay, usually. And then I've got brand awareness campaigns where these are really just dedicated to people, getting to know my brand. So, yeah, that's the best way to really explain it. Even if it means higher ACoS, even if it's a little less conversion, but people are actually seeing my brand and they could come back and buy me at a later stage, I'm okay with that. But it's really just about the brand awareness at brand awareness. So this is what my PPC structure looks like at launch. Now, I know that it can look confusing. So if you need to pause for a second, pause. If you need to take a sip of water, let's just take a sip of water together for a second. All right, and let's begin. So the very first type of campaign I'm going to have is a discovery campaign. So these are keywords that I'm going to strategically choose to put in as in a discovery. If I'm starting with a broad, they are going to be root keywords. If I'm starting with an auto, then I'm not choosing the keywords. Amazon will choose the keywords. Today, specifically, I use broad 95% of the time because I just don't trust Amazon from day one when it comes to auto. And the reason is you need to take into consideration that Amazon will use your listings copyrights or your listings copy or your backend search terms and the keywords that you have in your title, your bullet point, etc., in order to try and understand your product. And when you're launching, Amazon doesn't 100% understand your product yet. And some of you may have products where you are launching a very, very specific type of let's just say decor product, but somewhere you have boho and you have decor, and then Amazon starts going after boho decor, which is way too big of a keyword for you at launch. So yes, you could negative exact that into your auto campaign, but what I have found is it is a lot more efficient for me to start with broad campaigns with root keywords in there. So remember that when you have a broad campaign, what you're doing is you are giving Amazon a keyword. For example, let's just say that I am selling a bridesmaid proposal box. So I would put into a broad root keyword. I would put into a broad campaign a root keyword that would say, for example, bridesmaid box or bridesmaid proposal box. And that's the root keyword that I'm giving it. Some people call it a seed keyword. And then that keyword is going to turn into longer tails or mid tail or other forms of that keyword. So for example, if I put in bridesmaid proposal box, it may go after bridesmaid box for proposal, or perfect bridesmaid proposal gift box, or something along those lines. In a broad campaign, it doesn't have to be the exact order that you put in that keyword. Amazon can change the order around, or move the keywords around, or add keywords to it. So I will usually, at a discovery campaign today, prefer to control as much as possible of where Amazon is going to show my product, but I also don't want to restrict it to a place where only the keywords I want or I've chosen for it to go after, because then I could be missing out on a whole bunch of keywords. So I today start with usually a broad campaign with multiple root keywords in there that make sense for my product. I sometimes will have two separate broad campaigns. So if you're selling a home decor, I keep using decor product as an example, but let's just say if you're selling a home decor product, and it can go after both exactly what the product is. So for example, I'm just going to use an example. Let's just say that you sell an anchor that you put on the wall, okay? So let's just say that there are keywords out there, I'm making this up, for anchor wall art. That is what you sell, and you can get sales from different types of anchor related keywords, but you can also get sales from, let's just say, nautical bathroom decor keywords, or anchor, like different types of keywords that don't necessarily have anchor in it, but are still very much with buying intent to buy a product very similar to yours. So if that is the case, I will have two separate broad campaigns. One for the little bit looser types of keywords, and one for the keywords that are going to explain exactly 100% what my product is. So that is the broad discovery campaign that I have. Now, if I have a broad, it means I don't have an ASIN discovery, because with auto, it's going after both ASINs and keywords. So if I don't have an auto, I will then have an ASIN discovery campaign as well as my broad discovery campaign. And my ASIN discovery campaign would be either a product targeting campaign, and I'd be targeting a specific category, or it would be an auto campaign where I have loose match and close match turned off, but I am targeting substitutes and complements only. With substitutes would have a little bit of a higher bid, and complements would have a little bit of a lower bid, because substitutes is going to be exactly what my product is, and complements are complements to my product. So my discovery campaigns are usually a broad and an ASIN discovery. And then I'm going to have one ranking campaign at launch, which has the exact search terms that I believe that I can convert on from day one, usually with the highest search volume, okay? So it doesn't mean it's the keyword that has the highest search volume. It means the keywords that are going to describe my product very well and I believe I can convert on, that have the higher search volume, okay? So if I am selling let's just say a bridesmaid proposal box, for example, what I mean by that is maybe bridesmaid gift has a much higher search volume than bridesmaid proposal box, but bridesmaid proposal box is going to be the first main keyword with higher search volume that explains exactly what my product is. So I would use that in my exact rank campaign as an example. Now, if I have a keyword in an exact rank campaign, it doesn't mean I'm not going to have it in a broad campaign. They will perform differently in different campaigns. Here, the purpose of the keyword is going to be to go after that exact term that I put in, either in plural or in singular. And here it's going to be used as a broad root keyword to turn into other keywords. So look at it as if I've put a keyword in a broad campaign, it's a seed keyword. So let's just say if we have a tree, which will probably look like a broccoli because I'm a terrible drawer, okay? And I've put here a seed keyword and here a seed keyword. They're going to turn into other types of keywords that'll be longer tail and mid tail, etc. Whereas if I've put an exact keyword, okay, let's just say it's this one here, it's only going to go after usually two keywords, the exact keyword I put in singular or the exact keyword I put in plural. That's usually what it's going to do. So they're not competing against each other. They each have a different purpose. On top of that exact campaign, I'm going to have an exact campaign that is a sales-driven campaign. I'm more focused here specifically on sales and less on ranking and less on discovering. I just want to get sales from keywords that I already know or believe that I can get sales from. So these are hand-picked keywords. I would have strategically chosen these keywords. And then also ASIN targeted campaigns. So ASINs that I've strategically hand-picked that I believe that I can compete on from day one. And again, the difference between this here and this here is that here I'm discovering them and here I already know them. I'm not going to put usually an ASIN targeted campaign, an ASIN into an ASIN targeted campaign if I'm targeting it in a discovery campaign. And I personally will usually negative exact or negative product target, I should say, an ASIN if I've put it in my ASIN targeted campaign. For some of you, I may be blabbering fast. You may need to pause this and rewind and to listen back to what I'm saying. I know it may be a little bit complicated, but this really does work. Like, you can just go to my reviews on my website and see the amount of people I've helped launch. There's literally hundreds. They're all real people. You can search for them on Facebook or whatever, and you can see I've helped a lot of people launch, and this works. You just have to understand how to pick the right keywords for your product. On top of that, I'll have an under the radar campaign, and it's the one that I told you that is super, super low bid, like 5 to 7 cents. And it's just to see if I can catch on to some keywords and catch on to some keywords that I may have not even thought about at just such a low bid that it'll usually have a lower ACoS. And then we have Spanish campaigns. Now, in many, many cases, I will start with also having a Spanish campaign. Sometimes it'll be a broad Spanish campaign, and sometimes it'll be an exact Spanish campaign. It depends on the keywords, and it depends on the product, and it's difficult for me to try and explain to you which one. You just have to really understand whether there's a lot of people searching for that product in Spanish, or if there's a lot of different ways that the product can be called. And if there's a lot of different ways a product can be called in Spanish, then I'll prefer to target it in a broad campaign with a root keyword. And if there's really only a few ways to call the product and I already know people searching for it, then I'll use an exact campaign, and I will go specifically after those Spanish keywords. Once I have gone with stage 1, so all of these at the same time are stage 1 to me, then I'm going to get into stage 2. Now, a lot of people ask me how long needs to pass. So I used to say 2 weeks. But today, after doing so much coaching, and I'm no longer in my own bubble, I really have learned that it's more about your impressions and your clicks. Because sometimes somebody could come to me after 2 weeks and they've only had, let's just say 2,000 impressions and only 5 clicks. I can't help you. We don't have enough data. So you need data, and that's when you start doing your optimization. If a period of time has passed and you still don't have data, something's wrong. You need to go in and have a look. What's wrong with the PPC? But if you've gone in and there's enough data, there's at least a couple of thousand impressions and, at least 50 plus clicks, and I'm just throwing numbers out there randomly, then ideally more than 50 clicks, but there is a good amount of data, then you can start optimizing, because you can't optimize before you have enough data. What are you optimizing, right? Not enough people have seen the product, or not enough people have clicked on the product. And if people are seeing the product and not clicking on it, what's wrong? Why aren't they clicking on it? Maybe you picked the wrong keyword. So there's a lot of things that go into that. And once I have enough impressions and enough clicks, I'm then going to add keywords to my rank campaign from keywords that I have consistently converted on. Or I'm going to create a new exact rank campaign so that I can target those keywords that I already know that I'm now able to get sales from my discovery campaign, but I want to have exact control over them and bid efficiency. So I'm going to put them into exact ranking campaigns.
after I've learned about them from the broad discovery. I may also then create single keyword or single ASIN campaigns. So if there are, for example, in an exact campaign, if there's keywords that are taking up a lot of impressions and keywords that really need to have their own campaign, it'll just be one keyword with one campaign with one keyword. So for example, if I have a broad campaign and there are two keywords that, let's just say overall that campaign has had 50,000 impressions, and two of those products or two of those keywords had over 50% of those impressions, I probably want to target those keywords in an exact campaign. I don't want them to take up so many impressions from that campaign. So I'll move them into an exact campaign. In many situations, it'll be a single keyword, and sometimes it'll be just me adding it to another campaign, but it depends. And then same thing with ASINs. So ASINs that I've consistently gotten sales from, and ASINs that have had a lot of impressions, I will probably give them their own ASIN campaign so that they don't take up all the impressions from the other campaigns, and also for better efficiency. But it really depends, and you need to be strategic for when you move an ASIN or a keyword from one campaign to a new campaign. You have to be strategic about it, because a keyword or an ASIN is not necessarily going to perform the same way when you move it from one campaign to another. So you have to be strategic about it. And how I usually do it is I would usually make a new campaign, and I won't negative the keyword in the older campaign until it gets traction in the new campaign. That's usually how I work. And then I'm also going to add keywords or ASINs to my sales campaign from the search term report. And I'm going to look at the under the radar campaign, see if there's anything that I need to optimize there. And I may also learn about some misspellings that I didn't know about earlier. And if so, then I would probably also make a misspelling campaign for keywords that Amazon does not autocomplete. So that is what my PPC launch looks like. I'm usually starting with all these campaigns on the left-hand side, and then I'm adding different things and optimizing once I've got enough data from what you see on the right-hand side.
Okay, so we were speaking about how I launch a product, and now we're going to move into how I would launch a product that has variations. Now, some of you may notice that I maybe look a little bit different, and it is because this is me recording the rest of this presentation the next day as I started to lose my voice. So I recorded whatever you've seen up to now on day 1, and this is now day 2 simply because I was losing my voice, and that's why maybe the background has got more light and maybe I look at a little bit different. But anyway, that does not matter. Let us continue. So if you have variations, then your PPC launch is probably going to look different for if you're someone who does not have variations. So let's go through my structure, and I will explain to you the logic behind why I launch with variations in the way that you see here. So you will see that I have, this is sort of, let's just say, divided. Okay, we're going to use my terrible drawing skills. Divided into one ASIN in multiple campaigns, and then every variation that makes sense in different campaigns. And the reason I do this is because you need to take into consideration that, first of all, on an organic level, only one of the variations can have organic ranking per keyword. And that's one. 2, when you are putting in multiple variations or multiple ASINs into one campaign, you don't have control over, or into one ad group, you don't have control over which ASIN or variation is going to be shown on what keyword. So for example, if you're working with an auto campaign and you have a product that is both in blue and pink, and just as an example, and you have put both variations into that auto campaign, and that auto campaign starts going after color specific keywords like pink, orange, yellow, anything that isn't blue, but it's going to show up your blue product, then your conversion may be a lot lower there. Of course, if someone ends up clicking on your product, they can see that you have other colors, but they may not even end up clicking on your product because of that. Or let's just say if you sell a product that has different variations, for example, it has different quotes on it. And some of the quotes are motivational quotes, and some of the quotes may be prayers, okay, prayer quotes. Then you may be going, your auto campaign maybe, or a campaign may be going after a keyword that is specifically, I don't know, like motivational quotes. Let's just say it's a mug. So coffee mug with motivational quotes. Or they could be a keyword coffee mug with prayer quotes on it. But instead of your prayer quote mug coming up, your motivational one is coming up. And someone may not click on you because they actually want a prayer quote on the mug. And what they're seeing is a motivational one. So you want to make sure that the right product is being shown to the right buyer. And that's why the presentation is very focused on buyer avatar. You want to, I will repeat this many times, you want to make sure that you're showing the right product to the right buyer at the right time. And the right time is when they're searching for it, okay? And that's why if I am launching a product with variations, I'm probably going to have a lot of campaigns, and each one is going to have a different purpose behind that campaign. So after that little speech, let's begin. So like I said, we're going to divide this, into two different parts. And when I say main ASIN, what I mean by that, I don't mean parent ASIN, because a parent ASIN doesn't have a buy box. What I mean by that is the ASIN that is the most neutral, I would say, or the one that out of your product research or the market research that you have done, you believe is probably going to be the best seller and can be shown on most keywords. Okay, so for example, if your variations are colors, then it could be that you specifically are going to choose the black color because it's neutral, or the gray color rather than the green, yellow, whatever. It depends on the product. But this is just a few examples. So I'm going to be putting in the product that I believe is going to be the best seller as just that one variation into the campaigns on the left-hand side over here. Again, we're going to have either an auto discovery or either a broad discovery. Not both. I would have either or. So when you have variations, you need to be very careful if you're going to be using an automatic campaign. And like I said earlier, I personally today work more with broad campaigns and less with automatic campaigns at launch. I don't mind using automatic campaigns a couple of months later once Amazon's understood my product very, very well from where I'm getting sales. But initially, like I said earlier, Amazon doesn't 100% understand your product yet because all it has in order to be guided is your listing. So at this stage, I would be very strategic about whether I choose an auto or a broad, but I'm only going to put one ASIN, the one that I believe is going to be the best seller in my discovery campaigns. And these discovery campaigns are a lot broader so I'm not going to go after specifically, like if it's let's just say a pink bag, I'm not going to go after a keyword here like pink bag. Okay. I will go after woman's bag or something like that. And on the left-hand side, the pink variation will go after the keyword-specific pink bag, for example. The next type of campaign that I'm going to have apart from the discovery is going to be an exact sales or an exact sales and an ASIN targeted sales campaign. So these will be hand-picked keywords that I have chosen, just like the previous slide, that I've chosen that I believe that I can get sales from, and these are hand-picked ASINs that I believe that I can also get sales from. Now, the one thing I've noticed that I didn't include here is you got to remember if you don't have an automatic campaign, okay, then you do not have a discovery ASIN campaign. So if you are hand-picking the ASINs to go after here, and you want to also have an ASIN discovery, then just like in the previous slide, you need to also make an ASIN discovery campaign. It doesn't always make sense for variations, and you have to be strategic about it. The next campaign obviously is going to be an exact rank campaign. So these are hand-picked keywords that I believe that I can rank on. And the ASIN that will be in that specific exact rank keyword will be the main ASIN that I believe that I can get most sales from. And again, I'll have under the radar campaigns as well, just like in the previous slide. The difference here is that also every single variation is also going to have its own specific campaign. So it'll have its own broad specific campaign, its own exact rank campaigns, and its own ASIN campaigns. And the reason for that is because I want the right product being shown to the right buyer using the right keyword. So if there are people searching for pink woman's bag pink, Mother's Day pink bag for women, whatever it may be, okay? I'm just giving up random examples. I want them to see the pink bag. So therefore, I'm going to put in here as a root keyword, I'm going to put in, that either whatever differentiates that specific variation, whether it's a color, it's a quote, whatever it may be. So let's just say if it was we used the example earlier of a bridesmaid proposal gift box, right? Let's pretend that I have one box that will say, will you be my bridesmaid? And then I have another box that says, will you be my maid of honor? There could be, and you need to do keyword research for this to find out if it is true or not. There could be that there are people using the word, will you be my bridesmaid? I want those people to see my will you be my bridesmaid proposal box and not to see my will you be my maid of honor. Yes, they may buy my maid of honor one, but if they're typing in will you be my bridesmaid, that's what they want. I want them to see that product, to click on me, and maybe they'll end up buying both. Okay, but I want the right buyer to see the right product. And therefore, I may have put in here as a root keyword, will you be my bridesmaid? As an example, as a root keyword, because that is what's written on the box. So again, the broad is going to have, the root keywords are going to have a keyword that identifies exactly what that variation, specifically that variation is, what differentiates that specific variation from another variation. So if it's a color, it could be pink woman's bag or pink bag or whatever it may be. And if it's a mug, and I've got one variation that's got motivational quotes and I have another variation that has prayer quotes or Bible quotes, then it may be I will put the mug that has the Bible quotes in it, and the root keywords in the broad campaign will be Bible quote mugs, prayer quotes, whatever it may be. And then we're going to do the same thing. Strategically, I'm going to have exact rank campaigns for that specific variation. So again, if it's a pink bag, I want it to go after pink bag keywords, specifically ones that I've handpicked. And if I'm going to target ASINs, I want my pink bag to show up on other pink bags. Okay, so I'm going to have multiple campaigns for each variation. Obviously, everything is with common sense. Okay, so if you have bought out a yellow variation of a blanket and not that many people are searching for the yellow variation, maybe I'm not going to have a campaign specifically for that specific variation, but I will for the ones that I believe are going to be best sellers. Anyway, why are you bringing out products that, colors that people don't want? So that is what my PPC structure will look like with variations. So it'll be two different types. It'll be one that is one specific ASIN going after many different keywords, and then also every single variation that makes sense is also going to have variant specific campaigns for that specific color, quote, variation, shape, design, whatever it may be, as long as it makes sense. Everything, it's difficult to give advice on a broad scale. And really, when I actually see a product, I know what's right for it, but I think you're probably going to be able to get the point from what I've shared here. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So if you are also brand registered, then you, in my opinion, should definitely be starting with brand campaigns from day one as well. And there's a few things that I really believe that you should be doing as well. So let's start off first of all with video ads. If you're brand registered, I really believe that you should be using video ads.
Video ads are, in my experience, one of the most profitable campaigns that I have, and also many clients of mine have had. Because when you have a video ad, it takes up a lot of real estate on the search page. If you're on a desktop, it takes up an entire line just for that video. And you can make amazing videos that cost a lot of money. You can make amazing videos that cost, $5 to make, and you can make video ads on your own using something like Canva, or there's all sorts of different softwares out there that can help you to create those. You can also go on Fiverr, Upwork, whatever it may be. In my experience, video ads do not have to necessarily have real footage in them, and it can also be slideshows. So it can be a slide of your images or whatever it may be, as long as it looks good and you're showing it to the right person, meaning it's the right keyword for your product. It will, in many situations, if your product is good enough, it may convert, and therefore you want to make sure that you also have video ads. Now, with my video ads, in my experience, usually tier 2 and tier 3 are the types of keywords that will actually have video ads. Not every search term is going to have a video ad like placement. And in my experience, it's usually tier 2 and 3 types of keywords, but it depends on your niche. So sometimes it will be tier 1 keywords. So just be strategic about where you're placing your video ads. Make sure that you're showing the right product to the right buyer. Next up, I will have sponsored brand ads. So I will usually do a product collection ad and I will do keywords targeting and product targeting. So these ads could be your headline ads that show at the very top of a search term. They could be at the bottom of a search term, of a search page. They could be specifically on a product page in all sorts of different placements. Now, I usually use this if I have multiple products, but not only. Even if you have only one product, you can still do brand ads. But especially if you have multiple products, which obviously also includes variation. So if you have, 3 variations, it's 3 products on a sponsored brand ad. So you definitely should be using sponsored brand ads as well. And my approach is the same as what it's been up to now. I'm going to target keywords that I believe that I can actually compete against. And I'm going to be targeting keywords that make sense initially at launch to my buyers. Remember at the beginning of the presentation, to the people that make sense to my product. Do you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I showed you guys a search page that said I had typed in garlic press, and the headline ad at the top was garlic supplements. So the likelihood of that converting is a lot lower. There was also, I had looked at a product called 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗞, which is a bottle. It's basically a portable bidet targeted at women. And there was a whole bunch of peri-peri sauce bottles, so by Nando's, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, coming up in sponsored ads. So it has nothing to do with it. A peri bottle is a postpartum product. It's for women after they've given birth and they use the bottle. Anyway, that's what a peri bottle is. And all sorts of sponsored ads were coming up of a product by Nando's, which is a restaurant that also sells different types of sauces. So there were all sorts of peri-peri sauce coming up for that keyword. It has nothing to do with that keyword. So whoever is running those ads isn't really optimizing correctly. You don't want people clicking on you if there's zero buying intent there. And that's what I'm trying to sort of get into your brain with this presentation. So even with your search brand ads, later on, once you've launched a product, you can start going broad. If you sell an anti-aging cream, you can go after the word anti-aging later. But don't do it at launch if you're a brand new brand. Okay, so strategically choose exactly which keywords you're going to go after. So make sure you have sponsored brand ads as well. Now, sponsored display ads, in my experience from my own products, they have been amazing and the lowest ACoS that we have ever had. However, through trial and error with a lot of people that I've coached, I have found that sponsored display ads are either amazing or terrible. So this is going to have to be trial and error for you. Now, there are 2 types of specifically display ads that I would do from the very beginning. And one of them would be obviously doing product targeting. So a display ad would show up under the buy box. It would show up under the bullets. It could show up on the left side of the ASIN. It could show up on mobile on the very top, a very thin line. It can show up at all sorts of places that sponsored products ads do not. So that is one type of ad that I would run if I was a brand registered. And also audience. So there's all sorts of different audiences that you can specifically target. Now you got to be careful with this because an audience can sometimes be very, very broad. So just be careful with this. This wouldn't be right for like super beginner people, in my opinion, to do on your own. I would seek some professional advice by someone like myself or someone else. If you're going to be using audience, just be careful. Now, something that I think you should also use in general, simply because it's free, is Amazon posts. I have a video on this on YouTube, which is free. You can just find my YouTube channel, Sharon Evan, and you can search for it. It is basically Amazon posts is sort of like Amazon trying to be like an Instagram, right? And they are showing your products for free on your competitors' listings under an area that says posts by other brands. And then also shoppers can also follow you the same way you can have someone following you on Instagram, on Facebook, or whatever it may be. They can also follow your brand on Amazon. So there's a few different things that can be done here. It will also show up on your Amazon store. I don't want to go too much into it because it's not really about PPC, but I do encourage you to also use Amazon posts if you're brand registered and you're not, because it's free and it's basically free advertisement or free placement on your competitors' listings. So you really should be doing it. Amazon doesn't give a lot of stuff away for free. So until it does, use it. Okay, I very quickly want to say that last year Amazon introduced negative product targeting. This was not something we used to have, and now that we have it, you can use negative product targeting in your auto campaigns, which is amazing. Obviously, you can also negative keyword target, but if there are some people that I've seen that still don't know that you can negative product target. So remember that if you are making auto campaigns, and you already know of keywords that could be triggered that make absolutely no sense for your product, use either the keyword, the negative keywords, or use either the negative products, because we want to make sure that our products are going to be shown to the right people. That's if you're using auto campaigns. If it's not auto, you probably aren't going to have to do too much negative product targeting or too much negative keyword targeting. Well, that's not true. In broad campaigns, you still will need to do some negative targeting as well, but just remember to also optimize and to use your negative keywords as well. All right, before we wrap it up, there are some things that I want to make sure that you take from here. And number one is, it's not about how many days your PPC is running before you start to make changes. It's about the data. It's about how many impressions and clicks your ads have had. So it's really important that once you actually start your launch, that you optimize strategically and that you don't over optimize. And just remember that it's not about how long it's passed, it's data. You need data, okay? It usually takes between 60 to 90 days to really understand your PPC and to scale correctly with your ads and to figure things out. PPC is all about trial and error, and it takes time. And it's really, really true. You can't look just at your first 30 days and know that that's it. That's how your PPC is going to be. As your listing will improve, as you will understand your buyers better, as you will understand your keywords better, your PPC should improve as long as you've got a good product in the first place. Know that 20% of your keywords will make 80% of your sales, okay? This is very, very true, and this is normal. The goal is initially to rank where you can and to work your way up so that you can build up organic ranking. It's not just about the bidding strategy. Amazon wants to show the right product to the right buyer at the right time. That's really what I would love for you to take from here. Make sure that you're showing the right product, okay, to the right buyer at the right time. The right buyer is the type of buyer that is using a keyword that searches exactly for your product or very similar products to it. And the right time is when they're searching for it. So you want to make sure that you're being shown to the right buyers. Something else I want to very quickly leave with you is that, in my opinion, using portfolios is really, really important. This is just more for efficiency. I think efficiency is really, really important. As someone who has seen hundreds or even thousands of search term reports and seen so many different people's PPC structures, efficiency is important, especially when you eventually have a lot of products. You need to be able to optimize those campaigns, or the person that you're going to hire needs to be able to optimize those campaigns. So I highly suggest that you use portfolios, and a portfolio would look something like this. So you would have a different portfolio for a different product, and then obviously you would then have campaigns. And if you're using ad groups, then ad groups would be inside of those campaigns. But this is what an efficient, in my opinion and experience, an efficient structure would look like. Name efficiency. Give your campaigns names so that you understand the purpose of that campaign from just looking at the name of it. So something that I usually do is I will give whatever the name is of my brand, if I have multiple brands, and then the product, whatever that specific product is, and then what match type I'm using, and then the purpose of that campaign. So it could be brand name, mask. Let's just say I'm selling a face mask. It's an exact campaign, and the purpose of this is top 3 rank. I want to rank for the specific 3 keywords that I've put in there. So name efficiency will help you then to optimize your campaigns. I personally only put in 1 match type per campaign. I think it's the most efficient way to work. What I mean by that is I don't have a broad campaign in the same campaign that I've got exact and phrase or whatever it may be. So that's the way that I work. And then campaign grouping. So I personally sometimes will also make campaigns that are that have specific keyword intent. I spoke about this earlier, but what I mean by that is if my product can be sold to, let's just say, 2 different types of buyers, then I usually don't mix keywords, and it's literally just for efficiency so that I understand what type of buyer or what type of keywords are performing better. So for example, if we go back to the home decor products, if I'm selling an anchor and I will have one type of campaign with, let's just say a broad discovery campaign with keywords specifically going after anchor types of keywords, anything that has anchor in it. And then I'll have a totally different discovery campaign for the broader keywords that could be like nautical decor or beach house decor or whatever it may be. Okay, it's just for efficiency. I just find that it's a lot easier for me to be able to group campaigns with buying intent or keyword intent in them. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Some of you may need to watch it back. I know that there was a lot of information here. If you would like to find me, this is where you can find me. You can find me on the Sharon Evan YouTube channel. I have an entire PPC playlist with a lot of information in there. You can find me on Facebook, which would be Official Sharon Evan, or on Instagram, Official Sharon Evan. This is my Facebook community. I have a Facebook community with, it was voted the number 4th best community on seller polls. So I encourage you to join if you would like to be a part of a community. If you are in need of coaching or would like me to have a look at your campaign structure, you are welcome to book a call with me on www.sharonevan.com/coaching. And I want to wish you all happy advertising and good luck. And I hope that you have many, 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 many sales.